KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Wealthy Wednesdays on the J Lunch Club. Today we're going to discuss Trump and Netanyahu's ill-advised war. We're going to discuss the negative impacts of the Trump administration's policies on war, trade, and the economy for all of the American people. And I can offer some positive words that seem to have come out of this analysis. The fact that the United States may also be showing initial signs of escaping the death grip of Benjamin Netanyahu and the Zionist lobby over the U.S. polity. For example, Jose Kent, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Marjorie Taylor, and others from the MAGA movement seem to be distancing themselves. I should share with you in the first hour tomorrow, our very special guest will be none other than Tucker Carlson. Looking forward to his participation right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Trump administration is also in talks about rescuing low-cost carrier Spirit Airlines, and it's struggling to exit bankruptcy, according to Reuters. In this hour on Wealthy Wednesdays, our very special contributor, Dr. P.L. De Silva, who has over 20 years experience in backroom diplomacy, mediation, and negotiation, will be our guest momentarily. And of course, Dr. Kim Sipes, sociology professor in the College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences, takes joy in having visited 6 of the world's 7 continents. He has seen a range of socioeconomic backgrounds and living conditions across the globe, while studying labor practices and movements from the streets of The Hague to villages in the Philippines. Professor Sipes, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you, Jesse. Good to be here.
I'm glad you're here, and I believe P.L. De Silva is also here. Hi, P.L.
Hey, Jesse. How's it going?
P.L., I'm so glad that you are here. P.L., can we begin with some of the negative impacts of the Trump administration's policies on the war, trade, the economy, and its implications for the people?
So the negative implications of the war is that President Trump is not presidential, as we all know. And he is giving mixed messages. He says, okay, we're going to have talks. And then he goes and blockades the Strait of Hormuz, a blockade on top of a blockade, which was totally ill-advised. And I think it was General Jack Keane that first mooted this. And Trump, being Trump and clutching at straws, said, okay, yes, we are going to put a blockade on a blockade, which is totally idiotic, doesn't make any military sense. And the United States is stuck in a situation militarily, and the war is not going well. We know that the Iranians have a very advanced, hypersonic, intermediate, ballistic, cruise missiles and drones that they have near total domination of Israel and the US military bases, the airspace over them, so they can strike at will. On top of that, they have been spoofing in real time F-35s as well as US drones. And apparently there's a MC-4 Triton, which is one of the most expensive drones that flies at 56,000, miles above the earth, and the Iranians basically spoofed it and landed it in Iran. So they are now, they're doing
reverse engineering a $200 million drone.
Exactly. So all of this is not going well. And then we had the news that last Saturday that President Trump was escorted out of his own situation, tantrum, and he asked for the nuclear codes. And General Kane said, "We're not going to give that to you, sir." And of course, he had this massive tantrum, and he was continuing to shout in the West Wing for another hour or two. That's the state of affairs with regard to President Trump. And I don't think that he is the person to actually handle trade and the global economy, let alone the US economy. Things are really bad. And there's talks, murmurs that the Republicans would use the 25th Amendment because, Trump is a liability, he's erratic, and people are actually calling into question his mental acuity. So is he insane, or is he pretending to be insane? We don't know.
Pio, we have just about a minute before we come forward, and I do want to ask this very quick question. What does it say to you when the Iranians refuse to attend a peace or ceasefire meeting in Pakistan with Jared Kushner, J.D. Vance, and the other gentleman who was negotiating on behalf of the United States? What does that say to you?
The problem is that there is no soft touch. To do these kinds of negotiations, you need a soft touch. And Trump can't be bellicose and bombastic on the one hand, threatening Iran and blockading the Iranian ports, and then hoping to have negotiations. The Iranians do have the upper hand. And when I was in Northern Ireland, I really saw somebody who had a soft touch, and that was Senator George Mitchell. He was amazing. He was able to bring the fighting, the IRA and the UVF, the Protestant paramilitaries together. And we still have the Good Friday Agreement in place because that's what it takes. It takes careful negotiations, and Trump is actually an impediment for peace with the Iranians.
You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's worldwide, and we're in worldwide with P.L. Da Silva, our very special guest, Dr. Kim Sipes. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Deshauna Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, rock star. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Wally drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We are worldwide with P.L. De Silva. Our very special guest is Dr. Kim Sipes, sociology professor in the College of Humanities, Education, and Sciences. Takes joy in having visited 6 worldwide continents, world's 7 continents. He's visited 6 of the 7. Dr. Sipes, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
I thank you, Jesse. Good to be here.
Dr. Sipes, I'm going to take a leap here. That the President of the United States is conducting this war personally, as evidenced by his civilization-ending rhetoric, as evidenced by a blockade on top of a blockade, something that's probably never been done before in the history of military, as evidenced by the sheer approach without notifying the American people and firing generals, appointing Pete Hegseth to be the Secretary of Defense, and now his search for the nuclear codes. And the tantrum that he threw when he was not given them by General Raising Cane. This war is personal for Donald Trump, and I believe he's conducting it himself as commander-in-chief without relying upon any intelligence or relying upon the military, simply because he has the power to conduct it personally. In ways that I've never seen before from other presidents, this president seems to be personally involved. Dr. Sipes?
I think you're right there. I would change it slightly. I would say he's ignoring the intelligence he's getting, because I'm sure he's getting something. They're telling him something. But he does. Donald Trump has always had a feelings of adequacy, that he knew everything and he could do it, and nobody was as sharp as him, and things like that. And I think you're right that he is conducting it according to whatever his own conditions are, his feelings, whatever like that. That is not a way to lead men and women into war in the first place. Second place, he's very confused. He's never had he's never been honest with the American people about this. He didn't tell anybody, say at the State of the Nation, even discuss, where he had a nationwide audience. He didn't discuss this, which is not surprising for a man who, remember, Donald Trump refused to even sign up for the draft. He got his father to get a friend to write a letter for him saying he had bone spurs, and he wasn't even eligible for the draft. And he's shown no personal courage or responsibility in his past life. So you've got this going on, and what this leads to, that I'd like to talk about for a moment, if I may, is the impact on the U.S. Trump seems to think he can do whatever he wants against the Iranians. He has no respect for them or their defense capabilities, which he's learning a hell of a lot about, unfortunately. But he's also not being honest with the American people. He says, as soon as the Strait of Hormuz is open, gas prices are going to come down. And I totally disagree. Gas prices, as we've all seen, have gone up. I know I drive a Honda, forgetting the name. It was a Honda Insight. It's a
it's old Honda.
Word. I can't. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a small car, and yet my gas mile, it takes me another $10 to fill up the tank from when it was right before the war. Now, gas prices have dropped a little bit. But folks are thinking, well, maybe they're going to keep dropping. I don't think so, because what has happened is the Iranians have shut off the Strait of Hormuz, and the war's gone for about 8 weeks now, and we're just now seeing the last of the ships that had gotten out before the blockade reach the U.S. So even if we started getting oil tankers into, released from the Strait of Hormuz, it's still going to take them 6-8 weeks to get to the United States. Trump's playing games. He's letting the Russians, he's reducing sanctions on the Russians so we can get their oil. He's playing all kinds of games. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's picking at straws wherever he can. It's not coherent. It's not knowledgeable. It's stupid. I mean, any talk of invading Iran is going to be a disaster, and that's going to mean a lot of American soldiers and Marines in particular are going to pay the price with their lives. So he's not telling anybody, but even more than that, along with that, is what people don't realize is that 35% of the fertilizer in the world goes through the Strait of Hormuz. And that fertilizer is required for farming. And so what we're going to see with that kind of cutoff, we're going to see some famine come out of this. Trump doesn't care, but it's going to happen. There are other things such as helium that's being produced in the Persian Gulf. That's been cut off. That's going to affect microchip production, all kinds of things. So there's ramifications that he's never thought of that are going to come and hit us, and they're going to hurt us. And considering two things, one, that we were in pretty bad shape before the war economically, and second, we're in much worse shape than that even suggested. I've been I've been doing research now and then on the changing global economy and its effect on American workers for 40 years. I started in 1984. And what we see over time is that the American economy is getting weaker and weaker. And so that there was a article in the New York Times today about how the job ladder for working people had fallen apart. Well, the foundation on which it's been based has been basically obliterated. I mean, in the first 4 years of George W. Bush administration, which the last years that I have data that's comparable with previous data, 80% of the American people lost income. 80%. Now, since then, what's happened? Well, we had the Great Recession. Then we had that slow recovery that didn't start happening until about 15 or 16. Then we had the COVID crisis. Now the economy's not doing well. We're in much, much worse shape than has ever been told to the American people. And the administration doesn't want that out. The media doesn't want that out. You haven't seen this stuff in the New York Times. They don't want it out. And that I think this is going to only get worse as Trump goes on. Now, that's if Trump has a revelation and decides to start treating the Iranians with respect. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And eventually it's going to be on, I think what we'll see in the midterms is Trump and the Republicans are going to get slapped senseless. And then maybe he might get some sense that he's not running the world. But I think it's going to take something like that. And I think people need to be prepared.
And that does lead me to my next question. Peel, this is for you and Dr. Sipes. Did you glean any insights from last night's vote in Virginia other than the gerrymander? Was it also a referendum on Donald Trump, the war, and other policies that have worked to the economic detriment of the American people? Peel?
It is. It's certainly, I mean, everything, all these elections, leading up to the midterm elections is a referendum on Donald Trump and his performance. And if you look at the polling numbers, I mean, it's abysmal. So I don't know where we are heading, for as far as Trump and the Republican Party are concerned. The Republicans are the can't get elected party, and but the problem is, even if there's a blue wave, we need to shape up the Democratic Party, because part of this problem is not just only Trump and the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party is equally complicit. And as long as the House is not cleaned of all the interference, the big money, the super PACs, AIPAC, the Zionist billionaires, as long as we don't stop big money from controlling US elections and buying off our senators and congressmen and women, the problem for the polity, for this country's governance structure is going to remain, even if there's going to be a blue wave that's going to sweep aside Trump and the Republican Party. The problem is not solved.
So, in short, the blue wave could be a blue disappointment if, in fact, Democrats adopt the same policies or strengthen Trump's hand in the Middle East through AIPAC and through Netanyahu and through the Zionist movement.
Yes, I mean, first and foremost, the War Powers Act needs to be put in place, and he needs to be chained to a chair somewhere to stop him from doing mayhem. I mean, all this talk of getting the nuclear codes is crazy talk. So we don't want a madman in the White House. Seriously, we don't. And the sooner Trump and Netanyahu exit the global stage, the better it is for the Middle East, the Persian Gulf, America, and the world at large. Truly, I truly believe that. These people are dangerous for all of us.
Professor Sipes, labor is under attack in the United States. Most recently, Pete Hegseth said he's getting the unions out of the Pentagon, and that's after requesting $1.5 trillion to strengthen the military budget. Your thoughts on the state of organized labor in the United States?
Well, it's in terrible, desperate shape. The top-level leadership has basically collaborated to strengthen the U.S. empire over the last 70 years, 70, 80 years. Then when Trump finally cut out one of the funding sources with USAID, and people have been complaining that by Trump cutting that out, it cut out a lot of social services around the world, and that's true. But also through AID was the funding for the National Endowment for Democracy, as well as the top-level AFL-CIO. And the top leadership has done nothing since then. They have refused to educate or mobilize their membership. Trump wiped out hundreds of thousands of trade unions in the various governmental agencies. The unions have done nothing. And so one of the things that's happening is I think there's a small but growing resurgence sort of at the grassroots that there'll be a big convention for around the Journal Labor Notes in June in Chicago out at the airport. That people are trying to find ways to fight, to reestablish the labor movement and to be willing to fight for them, because so far they've done nothing to take care of their members. So it's a matter. See, in my opinion, labor not only should take care of its members, but it also should take care of the larger community. And I have a book coming out in August called Unions, Race, and Popular Democracy, Building a Progressive Labor Movement. And this is what I'm talking about long term. Unions cannot just be for their members. We've got to be for working people in general. And because that got destroyed in 1949, that's older than I am, and I'm getting up there. We have not had a labor movement. We've had a trade union movement, and it's failed. We have less than 10% of the workers in unions today. That's less than in 1900. That's how bad it is, Jesse. And the leadership has done nothing. So there are activists, and I've been one of them for over 50 years, trying to fight at the bottom up, trying to find ways to change this, to fight the institutional situation we find ourselves in. And we're still trying to do that. But that's really, an ongoing basis.
Organized labor has been a traditional funding source for so many progressive organizations in this country. The NAACP, the Rainbow Coalition, SCLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is now under attack by the Department of Justice. And it's outrageous given the nature of challenging white supremacy, the nature of challenging anti-Semitism in the South, that they would not have people at the Southern Poverty Law Center cooperating with the organization so that they can bring down and keep violence off of Black and Jewish people. It is outrageous that the Department of Justice would then flip the script on the Southern Poverty Law Center. And so I share your concerns about the state of our progressive movements. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're worldwide with P.L. De Silva and more with Dr. De Silva and Dr. Sipes when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Former President Barack Obama is congratulating Virginia voters after they approved a redistricting referendum backed by Democrats. Obama had urged Virginians to vote yes, saying Republicans were trying to tilt the midterms in their favor.
By voting yes, you can push back against the Republicans trying to give themselves an unfair advantage in the midterm.
After the vote, he thanked Virginians for standing up for democracy and fighting back. The parents of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez are speaking out as the case against Black singer David moves forward. In a statement, they called Celeste a beautiful and strong girl and thanked Los Angeles police and prosecutors for their work. David is due back in court on Thursday. And Georgia Congressman David Scott has died at the age of 80. Scott began his political career in the Georgia legislature and later became the first Black chair of the House Agriculture Committee. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new chili crisp dumplings paired with a premium beverage drink like our new strawberry watermelon lemonade energy refresher. Both for just $5 only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A couple of leftover notes from the Lakers' win over Houston Tuesday night in Game 2 of their NBA playoff series. The Lakers' defense had a huge impact on Kevin Durant being a non-factor in the second half. Durant scored 23 points in the game, but had only 3 in the entire second half. He also finished with 9 turnovers. Durant had a very difficult time with his ball handling and getting off shots. Credit the Lakers' intense defense for giving Durant a hard time. In the absence of Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, the Lakers may have discovered a new big three. During the regular season, the big three was LeBron, Doncic, and Reeves. The new big three appears to be LeBron, Marcus Smart, and Luke Kennard. The trio accounted for 75% of the Lakers' offense last night. They combined for 76 points, 16 assists, and 16 rebounds. The challenge for the new big three is to maintain this production in Game 3 Friday night in Houston. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Turn the dial to where the truth lives. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
When temperatures climb, LADWP wants to help you stay cool indoors, starting in your attic. With quality attic insulation, your home can stay more comfortable during hot summer days and help lower your energy bills year-round. It's a smart way to save. And for a limited time, LADWP has increased the attic insulation rebates to make upgrading more affordable. Act now to start saving. Visit LADWP.com/attic. That's LADWP.com/attic. Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000. Use code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain. Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do? My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to Worldwide with P.L. Da Silva on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest, Dr. Kim Sipes, tomorrow at 12 p.m. right here in Los Angeles, exclusively on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest will be none other than Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is a conservative activist who is now tormented by his past support of Donald Trump. 12 p.m. PST, 2 p.m. CST, and 3 p.m. EST. Tucker Carlson will be right here for 1 hour on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. P.L. Da Silva, Dr. Sipes, let me start with you, P.L. P.L., what would you ask Tucker Carlson tomorrow when he comes on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show?
How can people that he represents, how can they bring Donald Trump to heel? That Donald Trump will not do something crazy like using nuclear weapons? I think that's the most urgent question that needs to be asked. The second question would be, how can we divorce ourselves from the Zionist lobby that has a death grip on the United States polity? And you need to ask for practical suggestions. And I think that is the two most important questions that can be asked or need to be asked from Tucker Carlson.
P.L., what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up is that, if we have someone who's not so right in the head in the White House, who could actually use nuclear weapons or approve his chum Netanyahu to use nuclear weapons, Israeli nuclear weapons. I mean, we do not want a nuclear weapon scenario to a problem that was caused by Netanyahu and Trump. The Strait of Hormuz was open before February 28th. And these people just need to walk it back and get the hell out of the Persian Gulf and the Middle East from all the meddling, the imperialist colonial meddling that have been going on for a long, long time. They just need to get the hell out.
Dr. Sipes, what would you ask Tucker Carlson, who is now saying that he is tormented by his past support of the president?
Well, I would ask him how can we trust his recent renunciation of Trump to be true? How can we trust that it's not a show? How can we trust that he's working with values that we would respect? And what is he going to do to help weaken Donald Trump, to weaken the tie with Israel? PL is absolutely right. I mean, you have to understand, and I don't think this has been emphasized enough, is first of all, this war on Iran was started by the U.S. and Israel, at Israel's initiation, from what I can see. All right. Now, people say, well, it's just like another U.S. war. Well, there are a lot of U.S. wars, that's for sure. But the real historical parallel, is with Pearl Harbor. This attack by the U.S. and Israel on Iran is comparable to Pearl Harbor. Or if you want another historical example, the Nazi invasion of Poland in 1939. This is big time stuff, and I do believe that Netanyahu was provoking this, and Trump made the final decision to do it. They're both implicit. They both should be taken before the International Criminal Court and tried. And when convicted, as I'm almost certain they would be, then we get to debate whether we hang them or just keep them locked up for the rest of their natural born lives. This is what they're doing. And yet in the U.S. media, and for example, one of the other things that's not being said in the U.S. media is the entire issue with Iran is due to U.S. and British overthrow of the democratically elected Iranian government in 1953. And nobody, and I particularly include David Sanger of the New York Times, wants to talk about this, and they have not done it. So the media has given a very false impression of this. They're saying Iran's terrible. Now, I'm not co-signing Iran's government or anything such as that. The Iranians are going to have to deal with that on their own. But I am condemning it for their international activities, and I think that we need to understand this. If the United States and Britain had not overthrown the democratically elected government of Mohammad Mossadegh in 1953, we wouldn't be having this conflict with Iran. So in other words, when the media says, well, we've had this problem for 49 years, they're referring to the Iranian Revolution in 1979. They never want to talk about the overthrow of the government in 1953. And I would like to get back to an earlier point, if I can have a couple more seconds, that PL was starting on. I think one of the things that we as a progressive movement, however defined, have to do is do everything we can to crush the Republicans at the midterms. But then also, like PL says, we have to turn around and we have to get the Democrats straight, because we can't have them doing another half-assed job. And that means we've got to renounce the U.S. idea that the U.S. is the dominant nation. We should control the world. We've got to eradicate that. That's basically, we've got to recognize we have a U.S. empire, and that's got to be torn apart because it's causing problems. And specifically, it's Israeli partners that are causing so much. I'm much more worried about Netanyahu and Israel having nuclear bombs than I ever have been for Tehran. Ever.
Interesting. You know, I picked up on something and actually learned something in this dialogue, this back and forth that we're having, that when you look at this from the perspective of 93 million people in Iran, I can see the parallel between Pearl Harbor and Poland, in that if you're one of 93 million Iranian people and you are writing the history of this moment, you would have to write a chapter on the unprovoked attack.
Yes.
By the United States on our country.
Yes.
It would be whatever we celebrate on Pearl Harbor Day or whatever we celebrate as Americans as an unprovoked attack by the Japanese on our sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
If I were writing the history of Iran in a history book for the Iranian people, it would include the unprovoked attack by Israel and the United States on my country.
Absolutely.
And our response to that attack. There's no other way to write that story. And it was completely avoidable. And that's one of the great tragedies. I think we just have a few seconds before we come forward, but that is stunning in its thinking, that we think we control the narrative and the outcome of the narrative, even in the context, Professor Sipes and Professor De Silva, of this conflict. We don't control the narrative. We have a version of the narrative and a side of the narrative, but there is another narrative being written, and it does not bode well for the future relations between the United States, the Arab world, and even the state of Israel. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Dr. Sipes and Dr. De Silva when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Fred Martin, founder of Compton Kids Club. I just want to talk about the authenticity and tell y'all about my homeboy, Tom Steyer. Tom is a rock star. When I met him, Tom gave a grant to schools in San Francisco. All the kids were on probation. We were flying instructors for 2 years to come and help those kids doing performing arts and turning their life around. Some of the kids that he supported, they've graduated from UCLA. Let's fast forward. Tom is in schools in Compton, hanging out with the kids in the piano classes. Brother Tom Steyer hangs out in the studio with us. These are the seeds that he's planted. This has nothing to do with elections. What's coming out of his mouth is not a campaign speech. It's authentic. And when he say he walks away from a business because he want to do his values, he ain't making that up because he's running for governor. This man is real.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Imagine every pregnant person in LA County having the support they deserve. A doula on every block. Doulas provide emotional, physical, and informational support during pregnancy, through labor, and beyond. Medi-Cal now covers doula care. That means you can get the support you need or train to support families in your community. The LA County Medi-Cal Doula Hub is here to help. Learn more and get started today at ladoulahub.com.
You better work. She's rooted in culture and rising in power. Los Angeles City Council member Karen D. Price Jr. invites you to the District 9 Women's Leadership Summit, a powerful gathering celebrating the women who shape our communities. Join us Sunday, May 3rd from 1 to 6 p.m. Registration is open now, but space is limited. District 9 residents receive special priority. This event is free. Call 323-846-2651 to reserve your spot. That's 323-846-2651. Be rooted, be powerful, be there.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail, because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to Worldwide with P.L. Da Silva. Our very special guest, Dr. Kim Sipes, have been joining us for the better part of the hour, and I'm grateful for both of their participation. Gentlemen, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you.
I do have a question that might be outside the box, but it's very much inside the box on this question of rampant corruption within the Trump administration. Is it right that the President of the United States can sue the Internal Revenue Service for $10 billion, and then without trial, the Attorney General, commissioners from the IRS, as well as the Secretary of the Treasury are in negotiations outside of the legal community, like to settle with the President of the United States for potentially an astronomical figure? Who's defending the taxpayers' money in this transaction? What about a jury determining whether or not he is entitled to a settlement from the United States government? How does this work? Dr. Sipes?
Well, it's just pure corruption. It's not even questionable. If nothing else, if they're going to say it's going to continue, it has to be continued until after Trump is out of office, at very least. But the whole thing's insane. And look, Jesse, the thing is, the Republican Party that supports him, which is almost all of them, Thomas Massie might be one example, not, but all these Republicans that are supporting Trump have denigrated the Constitution. They violated their oath. They have just been absolutely terrible. And that's why I want them all out of office in the midterms, because they are the ones that should be controlling Trump and keeping him within limits. And they won't do it. They have been supine. They have been useless, as a taste bud on an anus. They have just been terrible.
That's awful.
But it's accurate. It's accurate. Is it not?
PL, behind each one of these conflicts, there's a negotiating team that goes behind every one of Donald Trump's interventions in the sovereignty of other nations, like Venezuela. Jared Kushner and the Trump boys, they tend to show up right after cutting a deal. And even the negotiators in Iran are not professional negotiators. Again, Jared Kushner. Even the negotiators between the Palestinians, this so-called Board of Peace, to build some kind of Riviera on the Gaza Strip, Jared Kushner shows up. PL, did you want to speak to the grift that is occurring and the nature of the corruption that includes the Trump family at this hour?
They say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So we just need to look at who Jared Kushner's father is. He's a convicted felon, like his father-in-law, who has 34 felony counts. This person should never have been allowed to run for the presidency, and I don't know what is wrong with the United States electoral system. In any other country, Trump would never have been allowed to run for office. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. And we pretend we are some great superpower, that we are some kind of great democracy. But basically, it's a bunch of crooks who have fixed the system. And now we have the robber barons sitting in the White House, raping this country and stealing the taxpayers blind. And that is what we have. And it's, Kim, yes, you wanted to say something.
Well, yeah, it's even worse than that because, last year, the so-called defense budget was $850 million. This year, it's $1 trillion. Next year, Trump wants $1.5 trillion for 1 year for the military. So in other words, he's collapsing our economy. He's putting people out of work, and he wants them to pay more to cover the taxes, the $1.5 trillion he wants from war. This is insane. PL's absolutely right. No other country in the world would tolerate this crap. And yet we get all high and mighty and we set the norms of the world and all that. I sure hope not.
Well, these are the underlying issues in the midterms, and oftentimes we'd like to think that just regaining control of Congress is the emphasis. That's a big part of it. But the point of regaining control of Congress is to put our finger in the dike of this sieve that is leaking in our nation and in our world because we have not picked up our vote, exercised it in a way that can change the course of American history, or better yet, right this ship. This ship is out of control under the leadership of Donald Trump. And he's running the United States exactly the way he ran his real estate empire. And he has bankrupted every single company he has ever touched. PL, a final word of hope.
Yeah, hope. Professor Mearsheimer said that the United States is like the Titanic, and we are just about to hit the iceberg. So I don't know what's hopeful about that. Probably that Trump is on the bridge.
Okay, I see. PL, I need a higher note than that. Dr. Sipes, is there a way out? Can we right the ship?
Let's put it this way. If we can, the only way we can is if people get involved, if they form organizations. It's not enough to mobilize. We have to get together with our friends, our neighbors, our colleagues, whatever, form organizations and start thinking about how to take this on specifically. It's not going to happen automatically. It's not going to happen if we stay on our asses, because the rich and powerful are screwing us, and they're going to keep doing it as long as we let them.
I think we're going to have to find some assistance and some help in some places that we would find unconventional. I'm glad and particularly proud tomorrow. It will be a tough day. That Tucker Carlson will be our guest tomorrow for the first hour on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We have some tough questions to ask him, and some of which Dr. Shipes and Dr. De Silva helped me frame on this show. And that is, beyond the mea culpa, what can we do and what can we do together to right the ship? Is he going to go to his millions of followers and share with them, take the time to share with them that the direction and the trajectory of this nation under this leadership is not sustainable? I'm grateful to be worldwide with P.L. De Silva for his perspective, and for Dr. Shipes, his perspective on the labor movement and working men and women and the suffering that we are all experiencing at this hour. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on Wealthy Wednesdays with Dr. Todd Ashiri when we come forward on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Former President Barack Obama is congratulating Virginia voters after they approved a redistricting referendum backed by Democrats. Obama had urged Virginians to vote yes, saying Republicans were trying to tilt the midterms in their favor.
By voting yes, you can push back against the Republicans trying to give themselves an unfair advantage in the midterm.
After the vote, he thanked Virginians for standing up for democracy and fighting back. The parents of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez are speaking out as the case against Black singer David moves forward. In a statement, they called Celeste a beautiful and strong girl and thanked Los Angeles police and prosecutors for their work. David is due back in court on Thursday. And Georgia Congressman David Scott has died at the age of 80. Scott began his political career in the Georgia legislature and later became the first Black chair of the House Agriculture Committee. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new chili crisp dumplings paired with a premium beverage drink like our new strawberry watermelon lemonade energy refresher. Both for just $5 only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A couple of leftover notes from the Lakers' win over Houston Tuesday night in Game 2 of their NBA playoff series. The Lakers' defense had a huge impact on Kevin Durant being a non-factor in the second half. Durant scored 23 points in the game, but had only 3 in the entire second half. He also finished with 9 turnovers. Durant had a very difficult time with his ball handling and getting off shots. credit the Lakers' intense defense for giving Durant a hard time. In the absence of Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, the Lakers may have discovered a new big three. During the regular season, the big three was LeBron, Doncic, and Reeves. The new big three appears to be LeBron, Marcus Smart, and Luke Kennard. The trio accounted for 75% of the Lakers' offense last night. They combined for 76 points, 16 assists, and 16 rebounds. The challenge for the new big three is to maintain this production in Game 3 Friday night in Houston. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up!
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. You know, the news is coming so quickly, there are almost too many stories to actually cover. 1 hour ago, Trump Ballroom, his deal shields donors' identities and limits conflicts and safeguards a particular contract shown, and now it is starting its own investigation. 2 hours ago, Macron pushes U.S. Congress to crack down on chip tool sales and Chinese rivals, sources are saying. 1 hour ago, tables turn as Republicans face gas price attacks they once used on Democrats. 23 minutes ago, blockchain billionaire son takes Trump's family crypto firm to court. The news is coming too quickly to process. And one of the great challenges that we're going to have to do is stay narrowly focused on the contribution that we can make in light of all of the variety and variable factors that are being presented to us every single minute. And that's why, at least from my perspective, Black history is such a guiding force. It is a linear system that allows us not only to live in time as a result of having studied our people's lives and the history of our people over time, but in time we can make projections about the future to give us some sense of where we should be as a people in the present. And against the backdrop of all of the news, yesterday in Virginia, I was anxious as I watched for the better part of the evening the rural counties of Virginia overwhelm the vote for possibly balancing seats in the Congress of the United States. I kept saying to myself, we are going to lose. We are going to lose. Oh my goodness. Trump is going to regain control of the Congress. I woke up this morning having forgot that we live in Richmond, that we live in Hampton, that we live in the Tidewater area, that we are workers in Northern Virginia. Some 300,000 Black women lost their jobs to Donald Trump and the DOG, the Elon Musk Doge. And we won last night. Why? Because even though they counted the rural votes first, the large municipal cities where we live came in later. And it was an overwhelming, from my perspective, Democratic victory to change the map in Virginia to give Democrats an advantage to stop Donald Trump. Now, you have to line all of that activity up with the Voting Rights Act of 1965. You have to line that activity up with the 15th Amendment to the Constitution, and certainly the 19th Amendment that allowed women to vote, for the tens of thousands of women, black and white, who live in Northern Virginia and who had enough of Donald John Trump. They could participate by exercising their franchise just last night because of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. A hard-fought right that and whose initial disagreement was over the language in the 15th Amendment, which allowed black men to vote in 1868, but it excluded women. And therefore, a suffragettes movement began in the United States until the passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. And those women last night in Northern Virginia, those African Americans last night in the Tidewater area, in Richmond, in the large municipalities of Virginia, they showed up and they showed out. And they sent a message to the entire nation that we are going to fight back. And we're going to fight back in the same arena that Donald Trump began this conflict, this mid-decennial redistricting that he began in Texas with Governor Abbott and the Republican legislature to find him four or five more members of Congress. That then triggered our governor, Governor Gavin Newsom, to fight to balance and change the map in the state of California. And then that then triggered my other governor, Governor J.B. Pritzker, to struggle and wrestle with the idea of redrawing the state of Illinois, which then triggered the governor of Maryland and other governors to wake up to the idea that we cannot afford to have Donald Trump unchecked. And we owe that in large measure to the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and to the history of our people. Now, I can go through about 20 more breaking news stories. 29 minutes ago, the U.S. set to reclassify marijuana as early as Wednesday, Axios reports. U.S. CDC will not publish report showing COVID vaccine effectiveness. 3 hours ago, Daily and Medicare plot for obesity drugs may not hurt near-term demand. Analysts say we could go on and on and on. But what matters for guiding us at this hour is not the plethora of news items, but the certainty of our history in making sure that we come together on these viewpoints to strengthen our community, which include and are not limited to saving our democracy. Make no mistake about that. I'm so grateful in the last hour that P.L. De Silva and Dr. Sipes joined me because our very special guest tomorrow in the first hour, and by the way, you ought to be sharing this program right now on all of your social media platforms. Hit the share button on your Facebook page. Our very special guest tomorrow will be Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is one of the architects of the right-wing MAGA movement. I've known Tucker for many decades, kind of surprised by a lot of the political activity I've seen over the last 10 years. But Tucker is now having a buyer's remorse, and he's joining a large cadre of people that we need to welcome in our coalition in order to work towards 270 electoral votes to rebuild our nation, trust in our government and our system. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward on Wealthy Wednesdays with Dr. S. Todd Yeary.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi,
I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm welcoming you to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Uri is going to be joining us in just a moment, but I did want to take this moment while Todd is getting himself together to join the show to reflect upon the balance that professional journalists like Tavis Smiley and myself and others who have one foot in journalism and one foot in activism. It's a balance that we have to strike. We have to be tough on the one hand, but we have to be tender on the other because we want our guests to return to our shows. And Michael Cohen is a regular contributor here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Whenever I pick up my phone and ask Michael to come on the show, he provides unique insights into the mind and the thinking of Donald Trump because I don't know the man. I have to talk to people who know the man to find out the ways in which he thinks so that I can report or share with you our best possible analysis on what we're dealing with here. And Tucker Carlson is one of those guys that I've had the privilege of knowing for several decades, maybe 3 decades now. We disagree on a lot of things, but Tucker's going through a little struggle right now, buyer's remorse over the question of Donald Trump. He has been a vocal supporter of Donald Trump, having campaigned for him in multiple campaigns and campaigned for conservatives around the country. But now he is publicly proclaiming some buyer's remorse about the president and his administration, the direction of the administration, the direction of our country and the world. got some tough questions for Tucker, but I also want the latitude from our listenership that I want Tucker to come back on our program. So I don't do gotcha moments on the Jesse Jackson Jr. show. That's not the point. The point is the journey. The journey. You were here. How did you get here? And how did you get here? The point is the journey. The joy is in the journey of life, to follow and to figure out how people started on one road, but then they find themselves on a different road. And then challenge with love. That's what Michael Jackson would say, with love. With love. Challenge with love. The thinking that from our perspective has been so disruptive to our way of life, to our Constitution, to our movement for social progress. And I respect people in that process. That's the Congress that I had the privilege of serving in with Henry Hyde, who I disagreed with on critical issues, including the treatment of women and their concerns for their own body. There was a amendment that Henry Hyde supported called the Hyde Amendment that restricted federal funding for women to make choices about their own bodies. On the one hand, I trust women to make decisions about themselves. That was a major disagreement between Henry Hyde and myself. But if there ever was a member of Congress who, along congressional delegation trips, invited Congressman Mel Watt to travel the world from Rome, Paris, Africa, Europe, London, China, Japan, the person who invited me to develop a worldview, Henry Hyde. I love that about him. He showed me the world. When I got to the Congress, I had seen a significant part of the world, being the son of Jesse Jackson and having traveled around the world with my father, but to have traveled with someone who I was a colleague with, and oftentimes on the opposite side of issues, beyond the issues that we debated on the floor of the Congress, we developed a friendship. And in the final analysis, saving our country, rebuilding our union, rebuilding the people's faith in the Constitution, it's going to require people from different walks of life, capable of discussing forgiveness, capable of discussing redemption, capable of holding each other accountable. All of these things matter. All of these, I think Pio da Silva would call all of these soft power items that have nothing to do with jerking someone around or trying to embarrass somebody or trying to humiliate them or to score points on somebody. How did you get from where you were to where you are? What did you see along the way? Why is it, as Tucker says today in the newspapers, he is tormented by his past support of the President of the United States? I'd like to discuss with him what's keeping him up late at night. Why is he so tormented? I wonder what's keeping General Kane up if he stormed out of a national security meeting because the President of the United States asked him for the nuclear codes. I'd like to know, how much sleep is he getting? I don't agree with the war in Iran. I don't agree with what President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are doing. But I certainly want to know how close we came to the ending of a civilization. And I need somebody who has some upfront knowledge of the idea that someone in our own country could even conceive of the idea of ending a civilization. And how, from General Kane's perspective, does he believe the President of the United States might have gone about doing that? I think we the people have a right to know the answer to that question. So General Raising Kane, if you're out there and can hear my voice and you want a forum, well, I guess you probably can't come on a program and have an honest conversation. Better yet, you probably would have an honest conversation, but you'd have to be allowed to have an honest conversation. I get it. But I'm looking forward to our guest tomorrow. Our guest will be Tucker Carlson right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. He's one of the architects of the MAGA movement, one of the architects of the country's drift to the right. Some of the things that Tucker has said are obviously very, very challenging to us all. But I believe in second chances. I believe in hearing people out. That does not mean I agree with everything I'm going to hear, and he's not going to agree with everything that I'm going to say, but we're human, and we can listen to each other and talk about these issues and work our way through these issues together. I'm so looking forward to our conversation tomorrow with Tucker Carlson and the Democrats. The Democrats are fighting back. I was watching Hakeem Jeffries just a few moments ago. He warns Florida that the GOP, that the new map will backfire. And the language that he used, which is language that I wouldn't use, but it's right here in the Hill. He says, F around and find out. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries warned Republicans today that efforts to redraw the Florida congressional map will backfire on the GOP. Speaking to reporters in Washington, D.C., Jeffries noted that Democrats have already flipped several seats in the local elections around the Sunshine State in recent months. With that in mind, he directly challenged Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to move ahead with his plan to redraw the state map, predicting it will only help Democrats flip control of the lower chamber in November. Now, this fight that we are in right now over redistricting, one of the architects of this fight is Tucker Carlson. We need to know what he was thinking, how he was thinking. And I'd like to, of course, raise some questions about the Voting Rights Act of 1965, because there has never been a shortage, at least since the beginning of the Republican Party, founded in 1854 in Ripon, Wisconsin, and Abraham Lincoln became their first nominee for president in 1860, and he was elected president of the United States after having run a campaign to stop the expansion of slavery into the western states. And of course, the Democratic Party of 1792-93 of Thomas Jefferson laid the foundation for the two-party systems that we have today. But one of the modern architects of the MAGA movement, today's Republican Party, is Tucker Carlson. And to find out what they're thinking, why they're thinking that, and what role we are going to play in bringing these Americans back home to the fold, to respecting constitutional government, respecting constitutional processes, civility in the Congress of the United States and in our public and private institutions. What are we going to do to bring the temperature down in this, our 250th anniversary of our deeply troubled experiment? What are we going to do? We can't do it alone. We're going to have to do it together. And we're going to have to reach out into deep space and deep places that we will be uncomfortable in. And in those deep places, in those deep spaces, we are going to meet some people who are only going to see us simply as strangers. And that's who we have to be in this moment. Strangers. There'll be some of us who can muster up the courage to bring people back together. I'm receiving another news account that Iran attacks 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz as Trump indefinitely extends the ceasefire. And so there's trouble in our world. There's trouble in our politics. There is trouble up and down our national discourse. And we are going to have to find a way to bring the people together. This news item is particularly shocking because U.S. President Donald Trump said on Tuesday, just yesterday, that the U.S. is indefinitely extending its ceasefire with Iran a day before it was to expire, as new rounds of peace talks in Pakistan was on hold. Iran acknowledged a ceasefire extension, but didn't say Tehran was ready to extend or to attend new rounds of talks, state TV said on Wednesday. Iran's Revolutionary Guard, in turn, has fired on 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz today, throwing efforts to end the war further into question. The Guard seized 2 of the ships and was bringing them to Iran. And according to Iranian media, earlier Trump said the U.S. would continue to blockade Iranian ports, setting the stage for continued disruption and traffic in this critical waterway. U.S. forces today boarded an oil tanker previously sanctioned for smuggling Iranian crude oil in Asia, the Pentagon said Tuesday, as it puts into place a global warning to track down vessels tied to Iran. and to Tehran. The tanker is the second vessel linked to Iran that has been interdicted by the U.S. military. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi on Tuesday called the U.S. blockade a breach of the ceasefire. Therefore, the United States is no longer just blockading Iranian ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Wherever there is an Iranian ship engaged in international commerce, that warning right there seems to suggest that they are prepared to carry that out anywhere on planet Earth. So much for a ceasefire, if in fact, as we hear out of one ear the idea of a ceasefire, we must also recognize that this war is becoming global, and it has been global as it impacts energy costs, cost of living, affordability from one end of the globe to the other. I'm thinking in this moment about moral leadership. And that is a leadership that anticipates from the decisions that it makes, what the consequences of those decisions will and should be. It's hard to imagine that the President of the United States gave the kind of thought necessary to anticipate how war in Iran might actually impact someone's prescription drug prices, or someone's quality of life, or how much more we might have to pay at the pump. It's just hard to imagine that in the moment that he gave that kind of reflection, as previous presidents who were thoughtful gave to the idea that this particular conflict is one that is worth reflecting upon, and certain actions are not worth taking, because whatever action the U.S. government takes has consequences and ramifications for people in some of the strangest and oddest places, like at a gas pump, like in a hospital, like the price of pharmaceuticals going up. Or it's hard to imagine that the president cares one way or the other about the price of fertilizer and what non-access to the minerals and the chemicals that come out of the Strait of Hormuz that are necessary for the planting season here in the United States. It's impossible to imagine that his mind gave thought all the way down the supply chain of what the consequences of his foolhardy venture in Iran would actually do to a farmer in Kansas, to a farmer in downstate Illinois, or to a farmer in Indiana. His mind doesn't work that way. He thinks he can go in, he thinks he can come out. He couldn't be more wrong. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The White House says gas prices will come down once the war with Iran ends.
I think gasoline prices will come back to where they were or perhaps lower.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made the comment Wednesday, while Energy Secretary Chris Wright recently suggested prices may not dip below $3 a gallon until 2027. The Illinois African Descent Citizens Reparations Commission is holding a public hearing in Chicago this weekend focused on justice for Black Illinoisans descended from American slavery. The event will center on a report examining the lasting harm caused by slavery across generations. And Black Memphis, Tennessee Mayor Paul Young has proposed an $898 million city budget with no new tax increase and a 2% pay raise for city workers. Most of the budget goes toward personnel costs, with the largest share funding fire and police. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new Chili Crisp dumplings paired with a premium beverage drink. like our new strawberry watermelon lemonade energy refresher. Both for just $5. Only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A couple of leftover notes from the Lakers' win over Houston Tuesday night in Game 2 of their NBA playoff series. The Lakers' defense had a huge impact on Kevin Durant being a non-factor in the second half. Durant scored 23 points in the game, but had only 3 in the entire second half. He also finished with 9 turnovers. Durant had a very difficult time with his ball handling and getting off shots. Credit the Lakers' intense defense for giving Durant a hard time. In the absence of Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, the Lakers may have discovered a new big three. During the regular season, the big three was LeBron, Doncic, and Reeves. The new big three appears to be LeBron, Marcus Smart, and Luke Kennard. The trio accounted for 75% of the Lakers' offense last night. They combined for 76 points, 16 assists, and 16 rebounds. The challenge for the new big three is to maintain this production in Game 3 Friday night in Houston. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Where the overlooked become unmissable, this is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000. Use code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Paid for by government. The 1986 to 2021 United States Silver Eagle, the first ever U.S. silver dollar minted in 99.9% pure silver and is the best-selling coin in the world. These original and historic silver dollars have ceased production forever. They will never be minted again. For a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government-struck silver dollars are being released to the public. You can own a full pound of original U.S. silver dollar coins featuring Lady Liberty and the heraldic eagle, never to be struck again. Guaranteed. Call now to secure original United States Silver Eagles by the pound. The first U.S. silver dollars ever to be struck in 99.9% pure silver. Plus, receive a free bonus, an American Collector's Pack valued at over $40 and free shipping with every order. Call 1-800-560-6468 now to secure your full pound bag of United States Silver Eagle coins before they are gone. That's 1-800-560-6468.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon,
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Welcome Wednesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show here at KBLA Talk 1580. Congressman David Scott of Georgia has died at age 80 after more than 5 decades in public service. His staff announced this Wednesday, today. Scott served in the Congress for more than 2 decades and had qualified to run for his 13th consecutive term representing the South Metro Atlanta District. His health was a growing concern for colleagues in recent years, and he was ousted from his leadership role on the House Agricultural Committee after the 2024 election. He was the committee's first African American chairman. Dr. Scott, Congressman Scott, is the 4th Democrat to die in office this year. 1 Republican has died in office this year, raising questions once again about the aging member of the Democratic Party's leadership. David Scott was 80 years old. God bless him, and may his memory be a blessing to us all. Dr. Uri, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Todd Uri is both a preacher and a pastor. He has 1 foot in the pulpit, another foot in the community and in the courtroom. I'm grateful that Dr. Uri is here with us on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Todd, welcome forward. Okay, Todd is not here right quite yet. He'll be right back in just a moment with a technical difficulty. I think Todd is coming in right now. Dr. Uri, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Todd, how are you?
I'm good. You mentioned something about me being a preacher and a pastor, and then all of a sudden the line dropped. I'm not sure if that's a sign, but always good to. I don't know if that's a signal, but we will see. Hopefully you're well, and I'm actually in Atlanta. I did hear the news about Congressman Scott's passing, and so there's a noticeable sense of sadness amongst folks who live in the metro area, who are very familiar with his lifetime of service. And so we certainly are praying for his family and his constituency.
Absolutely. David was a great man. I had the privilege of serving with him when I was in the Congress of the United States, and a dedicated public servant, a genuine human being, very funny guy, but also very serious and very grateful for the life that he lived. More than 5 decades in public service, not 5 decades in Congress, but he's served in a number of offices before coming to the Congress of the United States and being elevated to the chairman of the House Agricultural Committee as its first African-American chairman. Our respects and our condolences to the Scott family. It's going to be a big, big service down in Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Uri, tomorrow in the first hour of our program, our very special guest will be Tucker Carlson. As you know, Tucker Carlson is one of the architects of the MAGA movement. He's been going lately, he's been on a mea culpa tour, suggesting that he is tormented by his past support of Donald Trump. And I would imagine that Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jose Kent, and others who have expressed profound remorse about their support of Donald Trump and why that matters because it definitely suggests going into the midterms that there is a fracture in Donald Trump's base that could very well bode well for progressives and the resistance movement to Donald Trump. Dr. Uri?
Well, yeah, Tucker Carlson's, I guess, enlightenment has come the hard way through the recognition and the realization of what many of us kind of sensed was much like we saw with the Tea Party as a prior iteration. This kind of extremist form of politics was not going to bode well because eventually it was going to come back and haunt even their own base. And I think that's where they are really struggling is they're losing their own folk. Now, whether or not that bodes well for progressives is the Democrats have the same kind of challenge just from the other side of the aisle, right? There's no real sense of a clarity of vision that says these are the principles that inform how we make policy, how we do politics that matters to the people. And so I think we are looking at two sides of the same coin. It will be very interesting, and I'm going to be clearing my calendar to listen to hear what Tucker has to say, because he's got an audience. He has a base. He has a constituency, probably one that is, as formidable as we've seen in many, many years. You probably got Joe Rogan that has one as well. Yeah, I want to hear what his take is on where things are, and really I want to hear what principles should be advanced to change the narrative about this kind of regressive politics that seems to have the nation in its grip and the masses in this stupor. But the kudos to you for having the conversation. I'm going to be all ears.
Reverend Uri, when you talk about these principles that need to be elevated that could potentially bring people together, from your perspective, what do they sound like?
Well, let's start with the basics, right? Human dignity is a human right, right? We cannot deny someone's personhood simply because we don't agree with some aspect of how they approach life, right? Maslow's hierarchy is still somewhat uniform, right? Safety and security needs. Do communities have enough food? Do they have the essentials to be able to be in a place where they can pursue thriving? If we're going to talk about meritocracy as a base for how you move up the aspirational ladder, we cannot under-resource communities that are already stressed and expect that somehow or other they're going to be, as we've heard, I guess, competitive. And so the principles, I think, go to affirming just the reality of what it means to be a person, right? The first three words of the preamble of the Constitution is "we the people." Well, people has not just an ideological meaning, it actually has a legal meaning. And we've got to make sure that we're affirming the personhood of everybody and not just those we agree with.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I hadn't given much thought to the idea that so much of our politics is actually an attack on the idea of personhood, the idea, and this is unusual. I think I've not seen in my years of conscious political engagement the demonization of a person's humanity. There was always the civil discourse was always driven by an interest in communicating with everyone and hoping that you got the most votes from everybody, a plurality of votes from people who were listening, but it didn't come at anyone else's expense. And my sense is that the demonization of people is something that absolutely has to stop. And that'll be really interesting to hear Tucker's response. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA with Dr. S. Todd Uri when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. Things are changing fast and no one knows what comes next. Times like these make you realize just how important it is to be prepared. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. They're America's #1 most trusted resource for survival food, solar power, water filtration systems, and more. Go to preparewithamerica.com to unlock a special offer that'll help you get ready for whatever comes our way. Go to preparewithamerica.com to see the special offer right now. That's preparewithamerica.com.
You better work. She's rooted in culture and rising in power. Los Angeles City Council member Karen D. Price Jr. invites you to the District 9 Women's Leadership Summit, a powerful gathering celebrating the women who shape our communities. Join us Sunday, May 3rd from 1 to 6 p.m. Registration is open now, but space is limited. District 9 residents receive special priority. This event is free. Call 323-846-2651 to reserve your spot. That's 323-846-2651. Be rooted, be powerful, be there.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a cybersecurity engineer at a publicly traded company.
We've been hacked! They're through our firewall!
How is that even possible?
They got my password.
Please don't tell me your password was password.
It's actually password 1.
This is the job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through this city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive. If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief. Some
restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Wealthy Wednesdays, and we are joined with none other than Dr. S. Todd Yeary, who will be back in just a moment. But before he does, I want to continue our conversation on the principles that we should elevate in our discourse tomorrow with Tucker Carlson, who will be our guest for the first hour of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show tomorrow, right here exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. If you are traveling in Chicago right now on I-90 or 94 going north from 130th Street, there was a sanitation truck on top of a flatbed at the 130th Street exit that did not make it under the bridge. And you can only imagine right over there by that little fire department, there is a massive buildup right here in the city of Chicago. For those of you who are Chicago listeners, avoid the Bishop Ford Freeway from 130th Street going north. It's probably backed up all the way to 179th Street. Avoid the Bishop Ford Freeway. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. But if you are on the 405, the 101, the 10, the 5, the 110, and the 118, we've been talking with Dr. S. Todd Yeary about our very special guest tomorrow in the first hour, Tucker Carlson, one of the architects of the modern MAGA movement, who is struggling with buyer's remorse. He says he is tormented by his past support of the President of the United States. Todd, in addition to the reestablishment or the recognition of our personhood, we the people, what are the principles in terms of returning to the nation to some civility, some levels of civility, some levels of our ability to hear what our neighbor is seeing and saying and not dismiss them? Might Tucker Carlson help elevate in this moment where we have really shut out the other side? We just don't want to hear it anymore. How do you make inroads? And maybe you'll have to dive into your theological teachings here. How do we make inroads for people that we want have dismissed, but also have dismissed us? I think I have a frozen Dr. Yeary now. And in this moment, all I can say is we have to reach out, that we can't give up on people. Now, I know I'm going to get hit in the head by some people who are upset with me because I say we can't give up on people. But it's something just that basic, that we have to provide forums for people to express and for people to feel the spirit energy for your genuine sense of who you are and who you are trying to be your best self. Todd, are you there with me?
Yeah, I'm doing the over the river and through the woods.
I understand, my brother. My question for you was, we talked about reestablishing personhood in terms of the dialogue and the respect. With our final few minutes, what other principles should we elevate so that we can hear each other in a dialogue and see if we can find common ground? Dr. Yeary?
I think we have to go back and rethink the childhood adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. We've seen that premise tested and even challenged. That the way we have discourse in a free society is we have a conversation around ideas and ideals, and it's not to use that space to dehumanize one another, but really to try to, as the text says, as iron sharpens iron, so does one person sharpen another. that when we come out of our most difficult debates over what's necessary to advance the cause of decency and personhood, it should make us sharper and better, not more hostile toward one another. And I think that Tucker Carlson has an opportunity to use his words to reaffirm the notion that my value should not be driven by what my transactional contribution is for somebody else's benefit. We had value before there's this conversation. We have worth before we have to go out and somehow prove that there's some market assessment of what we bring to the table. Bringing the fullness of who we are authentically as we are actually puts us in a position to have those kind of necessary conversations to strengthen the fabric of who we are and where we're going, so that we can have decency and dignity at the core, at the foundation of the difficult conversations that every society must have. But if we're not able to do it without tearing each other down, then a house divided against itself cannot stand, it will not stand.
Todd, it's really interesting that you would say that, because when I was in public life, I never took or understood that when I quote unquote lost, L-O-S-T something, a vote, that somehow I was less worthy. I still felt like the nation was going forward because you still respected my point of view. You even attempted to accommodate my point of view. Maybe you accepted my amendment to a bill, or maybe you at least heard my argument, and it lost in committee under the Appropriations Committee under amendments that I lost. And there were a sufficient number of amendments that I offered that were accepted. But at no point in time did I ever feel like I wasn't part of the process, that I was somehow, simply because I'm in the minority, that I was not part of the destiny of America. And I sense from some of the rhetoric, even coming from the Democratic camp, including rhetoric I heard from Hakeem Jeffries, who is really in a battle for his speakership, even as we speak, that some of the language that's coming out is reflective of okay, you've treated us like we've lost. We're going to win, and you're going to see what it feels like to be treated like a loser, or like we are the victor. I don't sense that when the nation enters into a new Congress, that the new Congress itself sees itself as pulling the entire nation forward and not just factionalism within the country. Todd, we have about 45 seconds. I apologize for that.
No, I mean, that's important. Compromise should never be a bad word, right? Particularly if we reach compromise, a meeting of the minds based on mutual understanding and appreciation for who we are together. And let's continue to have those conversations. Difficult though they may be, they're necessary if we're going to remain a free society.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to Wealthy Wednesdays with Dr. S. Todd Yeary on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Tomorrow in our first hour, our very special guest will be none other than one of the architects of the MAGA movement, Tucker Carlson. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward. I look forward to seeing and hearing from everybody tomorrow.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.